everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today. We are talking Sweet Magnolias season 2, episodes 1 through 5. It's been the long awaited Sweet Magnolias. 2 years we were waiting. So really looking forward to talking about it. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Anne is here.
Hey, everybody.
And we have our very special guest friend of the podcast, Austin Burke, is here.
Oh, we've waited so long for this, but I'm happy. I was so happy to watch these first 5 episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking at a certain point, I'm like, these teenagers are not teenagers anymore.
I know they look different. They look significantly different from the first season. You can tell, it's been a long time. Yeah.
Especially Annie. She's the one that looks the most.
Yeah, she did. She looked a lot more grown up.
Yeah.
And even Kyle in his face, I was like, oh wow, he looks different.
Yeah. So it's been 2 years, obviously, because of COVID and other things. And did you all have a chance to go back and watch any of the first season, or did you feel like you caught on and remembered pretty well going into this second season? What did you think, Austin?
I did the last episode of the first season just to kind of refresh my brain. Then I watched the recap. And then going into that first episode, I'm like, oh my God, you can tell it's been 2 years. But it was very seamless in terms of like the tone and everything we love about the show staying the same. So it was kind of fun going back and seeing what it was and what it is now.
Yeah, and I hope they like Virgin Rivered it and just got a bunch of as much filmed as possible, or at least we'll get back to filming really quick, like they did with that show, so that this doesn't happen again. Because you never know these days. You got to take advantage of whatever filming opportunity you have.
That's true.
What did you do to kind of refresh your memory, Anne?
I actually decided to go and watch the whole thing again, just because I was like, it's been 2 years. I love this show so much. So I just did like a week on my Monday before I just started binging it. And I was like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh yeah, that, some of the stuff I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that this happened. And then I had just seen the kids. So then when I had just went straight into it, I'm like, oh yeah, they look, different, a little bit older, but yeah. It's just so good.
I just made Wikipedia my friend, and I was just read all of the summaries.
Spark notes.
Like, okay. Because I was super, super busy. Of course, this had to come out the same time as the Olympics, which is like one of my favorites to watch the Olympics. And so like,
Me too.
Yeah. But overall, these first 5 episodes, I haven't watched Onward. I don't know if you both have finished the whole thing.
Same here. Yeah.
I've only watched to 6.
Oh, to 6. Okay.
I was like, I can't. I have to know. So I was like, I don't want to watch anymore because I didn't want to be confused about what I'm talking about. So
right.
Me too.
What did you think overall of the return, the first 5 episodes? What do you think, Austin, overall?
I really I actually thought it took a step up in terms of the quality of the show. It almost feels like Netflix is really confident after season 1. So they put maybe a bit more money into it. I think something even down to it's consistent season 1, but even the camera work I thought was a bit better in this season. It just felt like a higher quality season. Now the storylines, I think they are maybe even more intense than they were in season 1, because we got to establish the characters. Okay, we know who they are. This time around, we're exploring all of the relationships, especially between our main trio and the numerous the love lives that come from our favorite characters. So that was nice. There were a lot of storylines this season, a couple of returns that we'll talk about from characters. But overall, I think I prefer season 2 so far. Now, I can't speak upon the entirety of it in the last 5 episodes, but I think I am liking this show more now that I'm so invested in the characters. And these first 5 episodes just bunched together, it may be the most emotional 5 episodes in a chunk that we have gotten, especially because of what happens with someone like Helen and the surprising and devastating and heartbreaking things that we have to deal with. So I think I'm liking it more so far than season 1.
What do you think, Anne?
I
overall?
have really liked these first 5 episodes a lot. Like I was ready for it. I was been waiting so long, and I don't know, I really enjoy the stories that they're telling now. And I am so glad to have less Chris Klein because he makes my skin crawl.
Mhm.
So I think that helped me that him and Noreen is like, like she's not shown that many times and he's not shown that many times. So I like that kind of went
Yeah.
that way. And there was more room for other things that I liked more. But I feel like we're really, like Austin said, we're like really getting into the storylines and the characters, and we know them and we love them, and we're just feeling for them and crying for them, and just so invested.
Like, I've never been more happy to see a character move.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
seriously.
Thank you.
I, for the most part, agree with you. I have to say, I could care less about the town council and the zoning. They think we're a lot more interested in zoning than I am, at least. Like, why are we spending? Like, I get it. It's all about the mayor and the
Yeah.
mayor's wife being all catty and whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Just all of that is not for me. But everything else, especially everything with the teens, I could have had the show just be about the teens, and that is rare for me. I'm not normally
very rare for Rachel. She's not like I love teen drama. She's like, no, don't like teen drama.
No. It makes me want to call my mom and say I'm sorry. I just don't like the teen angst is just not my favorite. But
Yeah.
I just think that these teen actors are excellent, very good, and I think that they have gotten some of the best stories of the show.
Yeah.
I really
think
do.
they have given them good stories, and that the writing is good for them,
Mhm.
and they're doing a lot with it because they're
Yeah.
they're bringing a lot, so they're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Well,
And
especially, and we'll get into it, but just the way we started out this season with all of the drama surrounding what happened with the teens, and that's kind of what spawns a lot of these like relationship battles that we get. You know, a mother and a son. One group of parents don't like the way that the son is treating the daughter. Like, and I love that. So it all really sparks from the first episode. But I'm kind of with you, Rachel. I think the teen stuff was a major step up, even over last season. I'm really enjoying that.
yeah. And I have to say, I think that Ty is just like the best kid.
Yeah.
And he would have been such an easy character to be sort of a one note jock, kind of a thing.
Yes.
But I would honestly put the teen writing and the teen characters in this show right up there with the best, which to me is Friday Night Lights. I'm not saying it's that good, but I'm saying
that's a good
it's
one.
in that
Yeah. Mhm.
discussion for me.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
And you think of how that show wrote, particularly sort of the jock football type characters, and how it wrote them so well. I feel like there's a little bit of that with Ty, even as baseball.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to share something. This is the scoop you're gonna get, all the
Ooh.
fans out there. So I followed I guess Carson Rowland. This isn't Carson Rowland on Instagram, Ty's the guy who really plays him. And I see like this picture of his wedding on his Instagram. I'm like, what? I'm like, how old is this guy? So Ty, the guy who really plays Ty, is married and he's 25 years old. If anyone out there wanted to know that, my mind was blown. I was like, what? I was like, this is so shocking. So there you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think about, I guess, so when the original show was filmed, that would have been like 2019.
Yeah.
So that's still, but it's a little closer to being a teenager.
I was about to compliment the fact that this show did a great job of getting actual teenagers to play the characters, but I didn't do enough research, I guess, because I just assumed. But hey, I mean, as long as they look like a teenager, it works. My goodness.
Yeah, he doesn't look 25. I was so shocked when I saw that. I was like, what?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, he's off the market, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. Ladies, he's off the market, happily married to some beautiful woman. So
yeah, there you go. Then there's some other plot lines that I really love that we'll talk about as we go in. But yeah, overall, I I really enjoyed the first 5 episodes. I thought they were very solid. And I have to say, Sweet Magnolias is definitely a step up from Virgin River.
I think so.
Yes. Yeah. I know you haven't watched that show, right, Austin? Virgin River?
No,
Yeah.
I haven't, but I've heard similar things. But there's also a large group of people that like Virgin.
Oh,
I still
yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I just think this is better.
I think this is definitely superior. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to take a second from this episode of the podcast to celebrate our sponsor of this episode, and that is the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast?
Do you want an inside scoop into what happens on the podcast?
Do you want early access to episodes and loads of cool perks?
Now is the time to become a patron of Hallmarkies podcast.
By becoming a patron, you get to access our patron Facebook group.
You can request episodes or even be a guest on the podcast.
And most importantly, any patron can join our monthly movie watch-alongs with stars like Paul Campbell, Natalie Hall, and more.
It's as low as $2 a month to join in and become a special part of the Hallmarkies family.
Please consider, and we will love you forever.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies.
Okay. The first episode is called Casseroles and Casualties, and it is in the waiting room. The families gather for news from the doctors and Ty's plans for the season change. Over margaritas, Helen shares an announcement. So, of course, we were left with the big cliffhanger of who's in the car, what happened to them in the car, the kind of thing. So big moment. And what did you think overall of this first episode?
I thought it was good. I thought we actually got answers. Unlike the ending to Virgin River, which we didn't get answers the entire season, let alone the first episode. So we got the answers immediately. Instant gratification. I like that. And I think it just kind of like Austin said, it just kind of started like everything started to unfold and kind of storylines started. And I just thought I was so invested. I was like, what's going to happen? Is he, now Ty's hurt. I wasn't expecting that. Like after we, learned that he wasn't in the car. And then, Ty, and then Maddie and Cal are kind of like very tense and everything is just so kind of on edge. So they pulled me in. I was invested the first episode for sure.
So we find out that Annie is not in the car, that Kyle was, that he has a broken leg. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That needed surgery, and that he's in a very, very low place. And we find out that Ty was not in the car, but he got in a fight with Jackson, and that's how he got his arm injury. And I liked when he said, "I'm not Dear Evan Hansen." Don't sign my
yeah. That was so good.
That was funny. Yeah, I'm Team Ty all the way. But we have Kyle, and the big theme of these 5 episodes is he is in a very dark place. How did you feel about that, Austin, with Kyle?
I love that story arc this season. I mean, we'll get into it later on, but when his mom just says enough is enough, makes him get a therapist, it's like there's no communication there because of what he's holding in. And eventually he reveals that, which was a wonderful scene. But this was kind of the start of everything. And to see him in a wheelchair was the whole first scene is devastating. I'm like, I remember this show being cheerful and nice. Yeah. And this first scene, you have couples arguing with each other and stay away from my kid. And the mayor comes in. It's like, I don't like that guy. And it's everyone is just letting all of the emotions come out surrounding the situation. But it's terrifying. I mean, our kids were in this accident. And at first, you don't know what happened to who and what's going on with what. And thankfully, it was just, I think it was a leg injury, like they said, a loosely torn ACL or something like that. So it's not too bad. It's something you can recover from physically. But emotionally, I think that's much more of what we're seeing in these first few episodes is that emotional recovery between the adults, which is nice. But with the kids who struggle to process something like that, that's what I was really getting from this first episode. What a way to start. And then obviously we'll get to it eventually, but the reveal with Helen, I thought was just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it was one of the more like downer martini nights, I think, when they're all talking
Yeah.
about Kyle coming
Oh.
home and
Not a
all
fun
this
one.
stuff. Yeah.
And Dana Sue got so upset. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
a lot.
Because Kyle is upset with Annie because Annie basically stood him up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
Okay.
feels rejected by her, and then she stood him up for the prom night, and then he kissed her, and she was like freaked out. You know, she like
Mhm.
kind of freaked out, and so I think he's rejected, and then
Mhm.
Noreen left, and he's dealing with a lot of, I guess, loss or loss, I guess, kind of. So
Yeah. And what we know, I think this is his first big love, like his first big, what he sees as the potential relationship. So anytime you get a young boy that's going through something like that, it's going to hit really hard. Along with this tragedy, it's like all of that's coming together, and you can tell. And he does a great job. I think the actor's really improved since season one. He's great in this season.
Yeah, and I think why sometimes the teenage angst doesn't really work for me is that it sometimes comes off as sort of anger for anger's sake. And I'm like, why are you behaving this way? Why are you being so terrible?
That's true. Yeah.
Whereas like, I feel like the character development here is well done. And I understand, like why he is the way he is, especially when you consider the fact that his family's fallen apart in the last year. You've got that all to deal with and just the normal horribleness of high school.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah. And I thought that, we'll see later, but his interactions with Annie felt very like authentic, like he's definitely again in a very dark place.
Yeah.
For her. So the thing that I loved is this whole love triangle between Dana Sue and Jeremy and Ronnie. I loved it so much.
It's very good.
Yeah, because I mean, aside from Drop Dead Diva, which also stars Brooke Elliott, which I adored and loved, I can't think of anything else where you have a normal sized woman. I'm not going to call her plus size because that's ridiculous. A normal sized woman that has two such handsome men, both just so in love with her, and that was just great. I loved that. More, please.
I thought the exact same thing. I thought this is so wonderful to see this because you never see this. And because these are both, two very, handsome men. And Brooke Elliott is so beautiful and she does such a good job. I just love her so much. I think she's a great actress. And I just, so I'm so glad that she has this storyline.
Who are we rooting for? Who are we rooting for here? Which side are we rooting for? Because I didn't like the fact that, I like the writing, like I like where it's going, but Ronnie just kind of coming back into the picture and her kind of, when she goes back in to kiss him at that one moment, I'm like, I kind of like the mellow, I don't know. I'm being pulled in different directions. I need help here. Where are we leaning?
It's tough because they are both really dreamy. I like both a lot. But I don't know. What do you say? I mean, I think I'm kind of biased because I've interviewed Brandon Quinn, who plays Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
So maybe that's cool. Why. But
that's cool.
But yeah, I think I might be a little more on his side, especially once we get to episode 5. But I don't know. Both are very dreamy. I just love that they gave that to her and they didn't make it a thing. Like she's just totally owns it and she's confident and she's just, it's great. What about you, Ann?
In episode 1, I am definitely on the farmer's side, but we'll have to find out if somehow I change camps. But episode 1, I'm surely on the farmer's side. I don't like men with long hair, but that man, he pulls it off. So we'll just say that.
But Chase Anderson is the actor's name. If you want to come on the podcast, Chase, please. I'd love to have you on. But Brandon did a Lifetime movie that we had with Jana Kramer, and we had them both on. Cool. That was pretty fun. But we also have Bill there, Anne's favorite, Bill. And he wants to stay with Kyle and help Maddie out. She tells him, we're never going to get back together. That's not happening. And he does end up staying with Kyle. So I know, I guess maybe a little bit of redemption for his character. He, like, does one nice thing. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Isaac wanting to find his birth mother and talking to Helen about that. And he had thought that Dana Sue was his birth mother. And all he has is a Bible from his birth mother. But yeah, what do you think, Austin, of Isaac?
That's the mystery that I'm very curious to see how that unfolds.
Yeah.
I do think it has not worn out its welcome. I think it's prolonging just a little bit. You know, I mean, I wish we would get somewhere, because it feels like every time we almost get somewhere with that storyline, we just kind of back up and we're continuing to rinse and repeat type thing. It's emotional, and I love the character. I think he's amazing. But I do wish maybe he would get some more to do other than that one really sad storyline, because it's like every time we go back to him, it's this really sad storyline of him just trying to find his parents. And I would like to see a different dynamic, but it is something that I'm interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of the only sort of continuing threads through these 5 episodes that we see, because most of them get resolved pretty quickly, most of the conflict. But we also have Eric and Helen. And Anne, what are you thinking about Eric and Helen?
You know, I told you guys last time that I was on
Team
I was
Ryan.
Team Ryan. Yes, I was gonna say, I'm trying to remember his name because I just watched the whole thing. I should remember. I was Team Ryan, and I really am. But I like Dion Johnstone. I think his character is great. He does a great job. And so then I'm like, okay, you know, fine, just like win me over, you know. But I love Eric's character. I think he's so great, and he's just so sweet and kind and considerate and thoughtful. That it's like, how can I not like him? You know. But you know, Ryan had this whole issue with the children, and that's very serious. You know, I thought him and Helen had great chemistry, but you know, that's a real serious thing. So I understand where she's at, but I think that her and Eric are, I don't know, looks like there's something brewing there. So
yeah, and Dion Johnstone is another person we've had on the podcast. There are only 2 in this cast that we had on the podcast.
Yes,
but Austin, what do you think about that matchup?
He's spectacular. He feels like that established, just, you know, the beast of an actor. And I know a lot of them are incredible, but it just feels like he shines this light every time he's on screen. I love their relationship. I do, because it's so, well, it's subtle until a point, and then it gets a little bit more, okay, is there something going on between the two? Okay. But I think their chemistry is just spectacular. And I'm not even talking from a romantic standpoint. Just when they are together, there's this warmth that I think is the perfect thing to lead into a relationship. So I'm maybe even more than any of the relationships, I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah, they definitely are building it very slowly.
They are.
Slow
they
building.
are.
I like that.
And we
patient.
find out at the end of this episode, we find out that Helen is pregnant. So that's very exciting for her, and something I think that she didn't expect to, I don't know, have a baby, and so she's kind of dealing with it, and of course trying to figure out what to do about Ryan, because Ryan didn't want one. And so that kind of leads on, I guess, a bit of a sort of a cliffhanger of what she's going to do. So so this is just kind of a building episode. It's your first episode after being gone for 2 years. What would you give it 1 to 10, Austin?
That's hard.
Oh, good question. I just thinking around and getting back into things, probably like a 7, 5, 8, that range type of deal, because I thought it was a great way to get us back into things. a little bit of the slow buildup at times, trying to, into the world, season 2. Okay, we're back. Here we are. But overall, I think it's a really good way to start, especially that opening scene.
And what would you say?
Yeah, I would say the same area. So I would say like a 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 7. So very good. Okay. Then we had the episode 2 is So Much to Say. And the summary is Helen helps Isaac in his search for answers. Dana Sue's restaurant hits a financial hiccup, and Maddie tries to find out what happened with her son. So, okay. So we start up with, we find out that the girls have a sorry Magnolias.
Oh yeah.
They don't allow themselves to be mad at each other for long. And so that was kind of cute.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, that was cute. Good friends. And then they find out that Helen is pregnant. They're very excited, of course. And then we have that Dana Sue asks Ronnie for his signature on a second mortgage to the house to help with the restaurant. And so that was kind of an interesting moment for the two of them and their relationship. I mean, this seems like a very stupid idea on her part.
Yeah.
I mean, restaurants are just so risky. And so to take a second mortgage on your house, it would be for a restaurant. Seems like a very bad idea to me.
Yes.
So, but this isn't a conflict for long because Cal agrees to basically invest in the restaurant. So we're kind of setting up that plot. And so Cal and Dana Sue will be kind of working together in the future. Yeah. And so poor Ronnie, he, thinks he agrees to do this nice thing. And then turns out, don't need
just kidding. Don't need
just
mind. It's okay.
Go away again.
Yeah.
And then we have Kyle not talking, and we get the scene with him and Annie, which I think was one of the most intense scenes of these 5 episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. They did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, it was wrong of Annie to stand him up, but I think she just didn't realize what was happening. Quite.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I really like the scene with Kyle and his grandmother. I thought that was a wonderful one, because that's like that insightfulness you need from someone kind of on the outside of the picture looking in. And I thought that was one of the best scenes. And it wasn't really a turning point for him, because we see him stay in that mindset, but it was a nice scene for the character for sure.
Yeah. And I like the fact that they aren't kind of trying to get him to make his anger go away. They're just trying to get him to process it in a healthy way, which I think is refreshing.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Anne, about Annie so far in the show? Her character.
I like her character. I think that there's a lot going on with her character in these first 5 episodes, and I mean, there's a lot going on with her, with a bunch of different boys all over the place. We'll get to that later. But I think she just didn't understand, like, Kyle has been like pining for her for probably a really long time, and she just like really didn't get it or understand, or just, get how deeply he felt, and then how rejected he felt when she kind of like freaked out when she kissed him, and then like they had this plan and then she didn't show up, and then he's hurt more, and he's already dealing with his whole life crisis with his family, and it's just, I think she just really didn't understand.
Yeah. So then we have Ty wanting to go to state to support his team, but Maddie doesn't really want him to go. and she just doesn't think it'll be good for him to go. Is that the reason?
I think that she just didn't want to go. I think she didn't want to leave Serenity, and maybe she thought she needed to go if he went. And I think she didn't want to go, so that was kind of more about her. That was just my take. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because it does seem like it would be. I think she thinks it'll be hard for him to go and to not be able to participate. But I think that I guess something is better than nothing. Like, yeah, I can understand why people want to go.
And he's a captain, he needs to really kind of be there to support his team and just help lead them and just be there, just be present. So I thought it was good that he went.
Yeah, I wrote down, I said, I love Ty. I guess he's so great. He's really an unselfish kid, and I think very impressive. So Maddie decides to make an appointment with the therapist for Kyle, and it's Trotter's husband, Ashley, and he was great. I really liked him. I'm like, I would like to. I think he feels like a good therapist. Yeah.
I'm glad that he got more than one scene this season, because last season I think they did him one time in a bar and that was it.
Yeah.
So this season, he's got some more stuff to do, which is good.
Yeah.
And it's hard enough for an adult to make the decision to go to therapy, but for a kid, like, to be told you need to go to therapy, that's I think even more complicated to process for someone that age. So I like the fact that they did that, and that was something that he needed, and we find out eventually that's something that he needed, especially everything that he's going through. So I like that they did that. It was a nice plot point.
Yeah,
I definitely agree. I
mean,
mental health is so important, and I like
absolutely
how they're really talking about like all of the people's issues and people trying to deal with stuff healthily, especially Kyle. I think that's really good.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not a sign of like weakness to talk this way. It's a sign of strength, and especially when you're young,
definitely
to try to get some help. So that was, I thought, very well done. And we kind of end with Jackson seeming to like Annie.
Yeah. The other person I don't like, Chris Klein and Jackson can just, stay over there for me. But, maybe we're going to see character growth. That's what I want for any person in real life or on television.
Yeah. It's
hope
hard because he gets the kind of he gets
his parents.
Yeah, he gets the ripple effect of his parents. We haven't really got to see him too much. And I don't know, what do you think of Jackson? Austin, do you agree?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to take a lot for me to warm up on the character of Jackson, and he's trying, he's making his moves, being slick and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, we know, at least we have a good idea as the kind of person you are, whether you intend to be that bad or not. That's just the writing for his character. I am not on board with that. So we'll see where it goes. You never know. If you can change my opinion on a character like that, then you've done a great job as a writer. So we'll see.
Very true.
We can all hope that he will be this show's EJ from High School Musical, the musical, the series. I love. And
that's true. They did do a good job with that arc. Yeah.
EJ and Gina. Oh, my heart.
I like that.
That I love. So we can, like I said, we can all hope. All right. Well, what would you give this episode 1 to 10, Austin?
Tiny bit lower. I go 7.
Okay. And Anne?
Oh gosh, I'm so bad at this, Rachel. Oh my gosh. I would say 6.5. I don't know. I'm so bad at this.
I agree. I agree. That's what I would say too. Okay. Then we have The More Things Change. This is episode 3, and it's while Coach Cal and Ty work through disappointments, a new kind of heartbreak hits Helen, and Dana Sue gets a late night visitor on her front porch. So lots going on this episode. This was busy.
Yeah, this is a lot.
This was.
Yes. This is also where we got the introduction of the parking permit story.
Oh, your favorite
My favorite.
storylines. Making an
Zoning.
entry here.
Oh. Wait, okay, here's my question. Do they actually do stuff like that? Because I've seen it in shows and movies. I've never seen it like that to where everyone's so, I guess it's like a small town thing, but it feels more organized in real life as opposed to, just town folk coming in saying hi to each other, shaking hands. I don't know.
Yeah, to like the little restaurant.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like meeting up
so.
at a restaurant or something. I don't know.
No. I mean, it is a town called Serenity, so anything's possible. But yeah, the whole scene where they're voting on Coach Cal, that felt, I guess that's in the next episode, but that felt more legit town meeting. I think this is like an underground town meeting. But anyway, so we find out that they didn't win state. And everybody is having great attitude. Ty, of course, is amazing as usual. And but then Cal, he is throwing a hissy fit. And he's like, sorry, I've really been working on my anger issues. And I'm thinking, not enough.
You know what, Rachel? I blame this on you. I'm sorry.
Me?
Okay. Because you are always saying there can't be manic pixie dream boys. And he was a manic pixie dream boy until he had this problem. So
True.
now he's not a manic pixie dream boy. So you upset the apple cart here. I blame him.
He is a flawed character. I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
I'll grant you that.
All right.
Okay. So I have a couple things to say about this episode. This whole team thing. So the team gets back, and again, like, you have to kind of disconnect yourself from this world, like you said. If this was real life, ain't no way. It's my Kentuckyism coming out. Ain't no way. They're all standing there, hand in hand.
Yeah.
We did great at state. We got 4th place. Oh boy. No. If my team got 4th place at state, we'd all come back. I don't want to talk to anybody. Nobody talk to me. I don't want to text anybody. Nobody be holding hands. I'm sitting here like, these kids are the most genuine and wonderful kids, because it felt like they were two. And so then when Coach freaks out, I'm thinking, that's what a normal coach should be.
Yeah.
That's what a normal coach would do.
Well, and I think it did stand out a lot because it was so different than everybody else's response.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It was so, maybe it was even like too delayed too, because the coach, like, I feel like a coach would be on the bus throwing stuff and he's just chipper, and then all of a sudden he slams that thing, and I'm like, where was this like an hour ago? Because the team, the team's probably doing that on the bus. But I understand that that's kind of like me being, I need to be less of a realist when it comes to something like that. So, but when he freaked out, it didn't bother me as much as it bothered everyone else. I'm like, oh yeah, well, my coach said a lot more than that. Let me tell you, I play basketball. Let me tell you, a lot more than that. All right.
Yeah. That's true. It's true. And so we also have, in this opening scene, we have a very traumatic scene with Helen being rushed to the hospital by Eric. And turns out she has lost the baby, which is so sad.
Yeah, it was really sad.
So sad. And I thought that Heather did a great job. Like, that was very, very well done.
Yeah, she did.
And so then we have more. This is the episode where we get like love triangle big time between Ronnie, Jeremy, and Dana Sue. And I was here for it. It was great. I wish it had lasted even longer, to be honest.
I don't think I ever heard Rachel say that.
Yeah.
Wish they would have just stretched it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it though.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Me too. And it's bringing in the kids as well. I mean, noticing there's a relationship going on, and she's clearly upset with her mother. I guess this is a couple of episodes after this, but upset with her mother that Ronnie's coming back into the picture, but you're with this other guy, and it's creating a lot of tension between everyone. So I think this may be the best it may be the best thing that they brought us so far in this season, because it's doing so much, especially for Dana Sue's character, who is already wonderful, but now there's a dilemma, a mental dilemma that she's having to go through, and I guess at the end of the day, choose her path. And he tells her at one point, well, I can't remember what he says, Jeremy, when he says, you better make up your mind now. It's something along the lines of, make up your mind now, because once you do and realize you want to be with me, I may not be here. And I'm like, ooh.
Well,
and
yeah.
I can't, was it this episode or the next episode?
I can't remember.
That's a good line.
When he also says, Jeremy says, Dana Sue says, we're not together, about her and Ronnie. And then Tyler says, does he know that?
Yeah, I like that
so
too. That was good.
That was
Jeremy
so
said
good.
The way he's been looking, he doesn't. Yeah.
And the whole kiss on the porch, it was so good. Dana Sue and Ronnie.
Coming too. But it was so good. I'm like, oh, kitchen galore after
It
this.
was, yeah, got that nice strawberry something chapstick, and that was sweet. And yeah.
So Noreen is back in town, and does she just happen to come over, or does Kyle call her? I missed that part.
They kept showing him texting someone, and I was like,
Okay.
great. I was like, I just knew it. I'm like, I know he's texting Noreen and she's going to show up. And then she did. So they kept kind of showing him smile and texting somebody. And so from when she showed up, I'm like, okay, it must have been her. So yeah.
But that was a very sweet scene. And
It was.
I mean, I understand Maddie's issue with it, but I also, I don't know, at a certain point, it's like, if that's who he needs, that's who he needs, kind of a thing. And she is a member of their family.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells her that it's not in this episode, but Noreen ends up telling her, hey, we are family. So that was kind of my reasoning behind not telling you why I was coming into town, because like you said, he needs someone to talk to. And if he feels comfortable talking to Noreen, then he should talk to Noreen. And I think that moment helped him a lot. I think that's kind of why we get that moment later on in the season. So I thought it was great. I was hesitating when she returned. I'm like, okay, why are we bringing her back? But now I'm like, that's the perfect reason. And I thought it was great for his
makes
character.
sense. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is where, like I said, where we get the first parking violation for the spa.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mm.
this is where that lovely plot line starts. And we get Trotter and Ashley talking to Helen about adopting a baby. And I thought first, are they gonna like try to adopt Helen's baby? You know, at first I thought.
I know. I was a little bit. Yeah, I was wondering kind of that too.
Yeah, but obviously that didn't happen. And but I just love them. They're so fun. They're so they're great.
I love Trotter. He's
Mm-hmm.
he's worked so many people's shifts and worked so long at that spa. I feel so bad for him. I'm like, man, you're a trooper.
Yeah.
Good to know you.
Okay, so what would you give this episode 1 to 10? What do you think, Austin?
Oh man, there was a lot going on in this episode, but there were so many great things. I'm gonna go slightly higher than episode 2. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm gonna 7.5 this one.
Okay. All right, Anne, what about you?
Oh yeah, I think I would say 8. I really
Yeah.
like this one with the whole love triangle thing.
Yeah.
Really into that. So
Yeah, 8 for the love triangle and for how good Heather was in those scenes. Okay, so then we have episode 4, and it is called Walk of Faith. And this is The Questions Keep Coming as Maddie investigates a lot behind the spa, and Helen looks for clues in what Isaac's birth mother left behind. So this episode, it starts with they're required to have a certain number of parking spots, but the land next to them has been purchased by developers, and then they would look into it more, and it turns out it's the mayor and the mayor's wife who purchased the land. And when they bought the spa, they were told that it was the only commercial property in that area. And so that's a big problem, but it's also not very interesting.
I'm really impressed that you like got the issue, because I was listening to that and I was kind of, it's a little bit of mumbo jumbo, just a little bit. So I was impressed.
I felt like that too.
It was impressive.
I just put zoning stuff boring in my notes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we get a lot of Cece and Ty in this episode. She's trying to kind of get through to him and their kind of relationship. She also feels way older than high school. Do you agree, Anne? Cece?
I think she feels older than everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, she's something about her seems like she's older than the rest of, which, I mean, I guess the rest of them, like Ty and Annie, she seems older than them. So yeah, when they're supposed to be like the same age. So yeah.
I
don't know what it is, but something about her.
And they have okay chemistry. I kind of liked the plot better when she was trying to work with Helen, almost better than the whole romantic plot.
Yeah, I like that too. I like her and Helen's dynamic, and just, you know, even how she talks about Helen and how she just believes in her, and she's like, you know, just helping her so much. I really like that. I like that plot point more than her and Ty. I agree.
Yeah, and it's Harlem Drum is her name, is the actress's name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do you think of Cece and Ty, Austin?
It's the one relationship with the kids that I'm just not all, which I think Ty feels the same way. He's just not all like, he's kind of like,
it's probably why you feel like that.
I think that may be why, because I think it's also where she's a very mature character compared to some of the others. So she knows what she wants, and Ty doesn't know what he wants, which does create a little bit of that, which we need, right? But in terms of their actual chemistry, it's not until a moment a little bit later in episode 5 where I was finally like, all right, I'm starting to get on board with their chemistry, but right here, I just am not as interested as the other young relationships.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that he's trying to figure out what he's going to do if he can't play baseball and can't be kind of the star that way. It's like a Troy Bolton complex. You know, what is he going to do? So then we have Dana Sue. She can't decide between the two guys. And then Annie gets kind of upset with her, which she would. If
you see him kissing somebody else, when your dad's back in town, and
and I do feel like it's believable. They did a good job with casting, because I feel like Annie feels like she could be Dana Sue and Ronnie's daughter.
She actually does.
So then we have Ty and Kyle doing yoga with Trotter, which was hilarious.
That was good. We needed that. We needed some good light energy, you know, brought into that situation. Good and moment. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was very good. And then also Maddie tells Noreen she can't just come over, which is fair. It's her home. You know, she can decide that. But yeah, so that was a, you know, pretty good scene. And we learn that Helen still wants to have a baby. So I guess I don't know if she's gonna do like, you know, be a single mother by choice. Sounds like that's what she's going to do. But, you know, if they just moved things up with Eric, that can work that out.
True.
Come on. And then we get Dana Sue breaking up with Jeremy. So again, they didn't make the love triangle last that long, but I'm sure he's coming back. It's not the last we're going to see of him, but nevertheless.
I hope not. Yeah. Heartbreaker in Town Square. That was so funny. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a sucker for the new guy. I think I was on Jeremy's side here. I'm like, this guy is so wonderful, and you know, the other guy, he had his chance, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
And I understand, you know, you give someone another shot, and there's a big history there, and work out things for the daughter, yes, but at the end of the day, we have seen nothing but wonderful things from Jeremy. So I'm like,
he even provides the fresh vegetables for the restaurant.
I mean, he's growing veggies during pandemic. Come on.
And then we have Isaac and Helen looking at the Bible for clues if they can figure out any of the things from there. So yeah, this one for me, I would give this one Well, we also have Cal being voted on by the town council,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is intense. But this is in Georgia, right? The show, Georgia.
It's filmed in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Area.
but well, no, but
I think it's
Serenity
South
is supposed to.
Carolina.
Oh, South
I think it's
Carolina.
in South Carolina, the actual Serenity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I know that at least when I was living in Indiana, they were so intense there about their teams. And like in the movie Hoosiers, there's a whole scene where everybody is at the pub, the town pub, talking about the coach and they should fire the coach and kind of thing. And it kind of reminded me of this. And
Yes.
that's like legit. I don't know about South Carolina. I've never been there. But definitely in some parts of America, people are super intense about the high school coach and high school sports and everything.
It's in Kentucky. It's basketball.
Okay, saying Kentucky basketball is. Yeah.
and I played, and it was drama, politic. I mean, that took me back. I was getting flashbacks when I saw that. So it is absolutely, some would see that and be like, "Oh, it's not." I think that was authentic. That was very authentic. So yeah, they did a good job.
Yeah. So this one I will give a 7 to. I think it's solid. What about you, Austin?
Keep going back and forth, but I'm going to 7 as well. I'm at 7, 7, 5, 7, but it's a 7 this time. Yeah, not as great as the last episode for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say same thing, 7. So I guess we all agree it's about a 7. So
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
So the final episode is called Great Expectations, and this is Dana Sue's relationships become the talk of Serenity social media. Maddie uncovers who's behind the town's parking problem, and bless their hearts. That's what it actually says on IMDb. Bless their hearts.
yeah, I saw it on Netflix. I was laughing. I was like, of course.
So we get this big gesture from Ronnie to Dana Sue that he's always going to be there for her and he loves her. Everybody in the town can see. I don't know. What Anne, what did you think?
I was just like, oh my gosh, is he really like playing music outside the house? And like doing like, say anything moment. And I was like so shocked. I was like, Dana Sue, I would be running outside like, what child's like, playing music outside of my house. And it's like, oh, it's him,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I had fun with it. I thought that it was, it's nice. I think it's sweet. I think that Dana Sue, of course, she turned around and had a sweet reaction, but to his face, she would not give him the time of day for that reaction that he wanted. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that she was kind of like, have my wall up. I'm going to keep it there. But I thought what he did was sweet. And I know that she really did like it. So I thought.
When she turns him down, though, I was like, you are a strong woman.
Yes.
Because I don't think I could. I mean, and the thing is too, he's not only a big gesture guy. I mean, we've seen him, he was going to be willing to sign the mortgage. Like he's been there for her. But of course, then there's this history. He cheated on her, right? That's why she's, yes. And so that's a big thing to forgive, a big thing. Yeah. So it makes sense why she's hesitant, but he hasn't just been the big gesture guy, at least. Yeah. Because, that would make you suspect.
I think she's waiting to see consistency, which, he is showing because he's, trying to keep showing up and keep, so he's doing that well. So.
Yeah. What did that make you team Ronnie, Austin?
It did. I don't know if it made me Team Ronnie, but it nudged me just a little bit. I said, "Oh man!" I said, "Oh, if that was me standing there, I would have been like, okay, you know." It's just I got nudged. I'll say that I got nudged a little bit. That was a nice gesture.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then we find out that Dana Sue has kind of not rejected Ronnie, but kind of put him on pause. But then she goes and talks to Eric and says, will you be the guy with Jeremy, like for the restaurant? You'll be the guy to work with Jeremy. So that was good. So we find out that the mayor's wife, Mary Vaughn is her name, that she owns the lot behind the spa. And so basically they're like manipulating the regulations to make sure that they can make money and make things harder for the spa. And that's when they hold this little like town council meeting in the restaurant. This little like, everybody share your problems, and one person's like, we've got a pothole, and it's like,
the fountain has stuff coming out the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope nobody's watching this in other countries thinking this is the way American democracy works. Sadly,
oh god,
that is not the case. And then we find out that Bill is moving. He's taking a new job, and so he's giving the kids keys to his house because it's their house too. It was cute, but yeah, I think there's no big love lost between the viewers and Bill. So I don't think anybody's like, oh, why did they write him off the show? I mean, I'm sure he'll still be in there.
So glad, but I think it kind of like what said, it kind of didn't really make sense to me. I was kind of like, you know, like when you were with Noreen, that's when you should have gone, because, you know, that was causing a lot of, you know, hard emotions in the town with everyone being there. But now that you're by yourself, now you're going to go out there, which I know he can make more money. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of backwards to me. But as a person who views the show, I was glad.
Yeah. See,
I
that's
thought
what
that
I
didn't
think.
make sense, you know, so.
Season 1, they didn't know that we wouldn't like him, and then season 2, they knew. So they
that's probably what it was. It's like, we'll just make something up.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I was hoping one of the kids would not take the keys. I was hoping maybe Ty would be like, nah. I was like, oh, he took the key, which he wasn't. He was a little hesitant about it, but I was hoping one of the kids would just.
That would have been a key. That would have been a good moment. Yeah. I really thought it was funny with Cal. With the 1776 and quoting George Washington and everything. That was really funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, especially because my dad loves those kinds of books. Like,
so does my dad.
He's not that big of a reader, but he loves like David McCullough, like sort of, I don't know what you call it. It's not historical fiction, but it's like dramatized fiction, I guess. I don't know. I'm sure it has a category, but those kinds of things. And so I just thought that was really funny. And Bill, of course, he hasn't read it. And it was funny to me, you know, with the whole like Hamilton thing last year, last season. So anyway, the sort of like who can quote George Washington best kind of thing was good.
Yeah, I thought it was sweet that, you know, him and Cal are, you know, hopefully going to read the book and like talk about it. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, that was good. And then we have Helen meeting up with Peggy, who it turns out to be Isaac's mother. And that was surprising a little bit, her reaction. What did you think of that? Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I felt so bad for Isaac. I was like, and then to find out that she like continues to like avoid it, I was like, oh my gosh, woman, you're a grown woman. You have to like deal with this, you know? But I just felt so bad for him. Like he just wanted it so bad. And then she just like ran away.
Because I think that it's one thing to not want that to be a closed adoption and not want that. And I know some people do want it to be closed. But then you shouldn't have left a Bible. You shouldn't have left, I don't know. You shouldn't have left ways you could be traced if you didn't want to be traced.
I agree. Wasn't very well thought out, but I love the way that took a bit of a turn. Like I said, that was a storyline that I just continue to go, but it all came from Isaac's reaction throughout this process. And I'm like, I guess this is why this is a continuation. But then that moment for me was surprising. And yeah, it kind of left me like, I was like, you just feel so much for Isaac. You feel icky after it happens. I didn't really know how to feel in that moment, but which it's good. It's good. I thought it was a bad, but a nice touch to the episode.
Because I know some people do have kind of mixed experiences when they actually meet their birth parents. Like it's not the sort of rosy situation that they dreamed it would be. But still, yeah, you definitely felt bad for him. And it makes Helen think of kind of the whole idea of, being a single parent and everything. It's kind of getting her thinking. And after helping Eric with all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Or Isaac, I said it right. Isaac with all this. Sorry. And we also do get Helen and Eric getting a little more chummy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. There was flames coming out of that karaoke scene. Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
A lot of passion, a lot of flirtiness there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we also get this swoon-worthy scene between Cal and Maddie, where she's basically saying, like, this is the best moment of my life. It was good.
Yeah.
That was
I love you. I love you too. Got man, Cal, the outburst aside, Cal is just he's the guy, he's just,
is.
Oh man,
the
guy.
Getting it done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have Ronnie fixing the railing that had been loose earlier in the episode when he was doing the big gesture. And then he also fixed the screen door, I think they said. And
in the drawer.
Mm-hmm. That was cute.
That was really sweet. And what he said, he got me in that scene. I said, I'm sorry, Jeremy. I'm sorry. But I can tell it felt like he was fixing that stuff, but what he said to her felt like he understood. He was taking responsibility and that he understood, like, I broke our home, like, our relationship, our family, but at least I can do is fix this actual physical house. And, I felt like he was taking responsibility, and that's just a sexy thing for someone to do, especially someone who's done that. And he was apologizing to her and saying how he wants to show up there. And I don't know, I was moved by what he said. And then, so was Dana Sue, evidently.
Yeah. So Anne, what will you give this one 1 to 10?
Oh, I would say an 8.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a 7 because there was a lot of zoning. But other than that, it was really good. What did you think, Austin?
Let's see what I did last time. Well, we're keeping the trend here. 7.5 is where I'm going. I can't. You're right. There was a lot of zoning. I wanted to go 8, but another consistent episode with some great moments, some great romantic moments. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, very good. We did it. We went through all 5 episodes. Let us know what you think. If you're listening, let us know what you think of the 5 episodes, what you would give them 1 to 10. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. And Austin, how can people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me youtube.com/Austin Burke, where I talk all things streaming and movie related, comic book related. Oscar season happening right now, which is crazy. And you guys can follow me on Twitter @TheBurkinator, as well as Letterboxd. And thank you too so much for doing this. And Rachel, thank you for having me on. It was wonderful. And I can't wait to talk about the next batch.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. And Anne, how can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram @awscott21.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. That helps us so much. And if you are watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have the merch store and patron group, and all that information is in the description. And thanks again, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.